What's going on, everyone? So Jim Harbaugh once again fell flat. Michigan gets eliminated. They do not reach the goal of a national championship. They looked absolutely dominant. They were supposed to just absolutely steamroll TCU, and TCU ended up getting the better of them. And once again, the Michigan Wolverines fall short. And it seems like from the moment that Jim signed with Michigan that he was gone. Right? He's waiting for the next NFL opportunity. And as soon as he gets that NFL opportunity, he's bolting and he's leaving. As much as he has said, no, I want to stay there. I'm here for the long haul. All those, I think everybody knows that it's just a front. If he gets a real offer for an NFL team, he is going to an NFL team. I think he's done a good job of turning around Michigan. Don't get me wrong. I think he's done very solid. He has underperformed in many people's eyes, but from what it was to what it is now, I do think that there has been a lot of change and a lot of progress. And I think the blueprint in many ways is there to where if he did have a departure, that they could continue to have success and be successful if you can find the right head coach to come in and kind of keep that momentum going. And maybe even get the right coach with the blueprint that can kind of come in and continue and make it even better. A great example to put it in like basketball terms is like Mark Jackson kind of laid the blueprint and the foundation for the Golden State Warriors. Steve Kerr came in and took it to another level, took the blueprint and made it into an actual building, so to speak. So hopefully that can happen with Michigan, and then you'd have Jim Harbaugh go to an NFL team. And there, based on reports, are several NFL teams that are actually interested in bringing him in as their head coach, which would make sense because there are several teams that could really use a solid head coach that has had success in the NFL, which Jim Harbaugh has. And one of those teams is the Denver Broncos. Based on reports, the Broncos have reached out to Jim Harbaugh for head coach vacancy. Now, the Denver Broncos make a world of sense, right? They have, in many people's eyes, a team that was supposed to be a contender this year, that was supposed to be legit, right? You go and get Russell Wilson, and he's supposed to be the guy that's going to bring the team around, and it's a Peyton Manning situation all over. You got the elite defense, you got young offense, young receivers, you got tight ends, you got running backs, you got everything you need, right? Now you go and you get the quarterback that's supposed to save the day, and it just didn't work like that. Russell Wilson was absolutely terrible all season and looked like a guy that had never played football before in his life at times, and looked like a guy that was a walk-on rather than at one point arguably one of, if not the best quarterbacks in the league, and was putting on absolute displays and shows and single-handedly carrying teams. And me personally, I didn't think that it would be anything. So if you look at my videos here on this channel, I had a breakdown before the season began about Denver, and I even said and mentioned that I don't believe Russell Wilson is the guy that he once was. I don't believe the hype. I think that he had Pete Carroll that helped make him look really good, and a system that made him look really good, and that he's not the guy that he once was. And that I thought the Denver Broncos could really well be the odd team looking out while the other teams are fighting and killing each other for the playoffs. And that's kind of what happened. Now, obviously, two teams are night and day better than the other two teams, but still, Denver Broncos, with the right coach, you do have a really good foundation. And Russell Wilson has shown signs of a skilled Russell Wilson, Russell Wilson of the past. But a lot of it is maybe it's the play sets, maybe, it's him not really running the ball like he used to. If you put him in the right position, he can once again have success. And maybe Jim Harbaugh is that guy. Maybe he could come in and bring him in and have him have success. Colin Kaepernick, right? He's had success with a mobile quarterback before and a guy that can throw the ball. So maybe he can kind of work with Russell Wilson and kind of bring back Russell Wilson of the past and bring back that Russell Wilson that can lead the Broncos charge. There's insane stats on the Denver Broncos. Something if they just held teams to if they just scored more than like 17 points a game, they would be like something like 13-1 or something crazy like that. That like the Denver Broncos defense is doing their job. It's the offense. The offense can't score touchdowns. They can't score more than like 9 points a game. So like if you're the other team, you basically get one touchdown, you win the game. And so like that's a huge issue for a team that many believe was going to be a threat and was going to put up a bunch of numbers this season, and they just didn't. And Jim Harbaugh, maybe he can come in and kind of turn that organization around, and we'll see about that. But Denver isn't the only team that is interested in Jim based on reports. We also got another report that the Panthers are talking Jim Harbaugh. Owner David Tepper has spoken with Jim Harbaugh about a Carolina head coaching job. So again, Carolina kind of in the same suit. Their hope is that he can come in and kind of turn a franchise around like he has with other NFL franchises, and then of course college. And I mean, look, at the end of the day, Jim Harbaugh, like he wants an NFL coaching job. He wants to return to the NFL prominence, right? Like he can say whatever he wants to say, but the writing's on the wall, right? He wants to do that. And I mean, I don't necessarily know if he'll take any job for any price, right? But I do think if something like Denver, I do think makes a lot of sense. Carolina could, but I don't know if Carolina kind of fits his coaching style as much as like I think the Denver Broncos would. I think Denver could be a really good fit for Jim, and he could kind of really utilize the roster that is already there to kind of make a nice little push. And maybe I don't think he'll turn it around in a year to make them like all of a sudden legit contenders, but I do think he can turn around enough to where they'll at least be respectable, and they'll at least be, a more serious team rather than like a team that's like, oh yeah, hey, we're playing Denver, it's a free win today. All we got to do is score a touchdown and a field goal and we win, right? So I'm curious to see how all this plays out. And at the end of the day, I think he's gonna go where he can go. I think, luckily he's in a position where he has Michigan, so he doesn't have to it's not like he's sitting on the couch at home, right? And it's like, man, I'm really itching to coach, right? So he doesn't have to rush into a job. He doesn't have to settle for a job just to settle for a job. He's got a pretty good cushy gig in Michigan. They ain't going to send him anywhere, right? Like he's keen over there. So he's got stability. He's got probably more control there than he would in an NFL organization. So, I mean, you can make an argument that he shouldn't leave Michigan. Like, I personally don't think he should. I think Michigan is perfect for him. I think he's the king of the hill over there. I think he's turned that organization around in many ways. I think that if he wins a national title there, it would just be, he would be the pinnacle of coaches at that point. Seriously, I think that it would just elevate the mythos of Jim Harbaugh to another level. And I think his best situation is Michigan. I think he's going to continue to get top recruits. I think he's going to continue to be one of the top teams. And I just think that, nobody would be surprised if they win a national title next year. Yeah, they fell short this year, but many people thought that this year was going to be their year. And yeah, you could kind of say, well, like every year kind of seems to be Michigan's year since he's got there. But it almost feels like sooner or later it's going to break, right? You almost feel like, all right, like one of these years he's going to stumble into a national championship just because he's able to keep his team there. And I just think that if he continues and he does win a national championship, I think it'll make him untouchable in many eyes, especially in the coaching field and college football. I mean, Michigan will keep him forever and pay him whatever he wants and all of those things. So where if he goes to the NFL, who knows how that stint goes, and if that ends up not going well, you could be sitting on your couch. Granted, there may be some other college that would take him on, and I'm sure that there would be. But in reality, do you want to keep flip-flopping? if you're Jim? Like, or do you want to find that stability? I think he has that stability with Michigan. And I think Denver makes a lot of sense. Like if Denver is serious and really wants him to come and be the head coach, I really could see him taking the Denver job. I really can. But Carolina, I mean maybe, but I just think Denver's team is much better suited for Jim than Carolina's is. But those are my thoughts and opinions. And as always, I pass the question on to you. I'd love to hear yours. So let me know down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think that Jim is he's going to take the first offer he can? Do you think that no, like, he means what he says. He's going to stay in Michigan. And if he does end up leaving, would you prefer the Denver job? Would you prefer the Carolina job for him? What would you see him best fitting in? Or is there another team that kind of comes to mind that you would be like, oh, that'd be a team that would be great for him? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, good, bad, ugly, somewhere between. I'd love to hear them. So let me know down in the comments below.